Hi, welcome to Building SaaS with Python and Django. My name's Matt Lehman, and on this stream we build Django apps. We're going to continue on my journaling app that we launched live and had going last time, and we're going to work through the highlights of things to fix that I've discovered since the service has been live. So that's the plan, and you're welcome to ask me anything about Python, Django, or web development. That's what I'm here for. And yeah, let's just get to it. So when I launched last time, I prepared everything that was ready to go so that I could turn on sign up for everyone. And we made that conditional so that only a certain amount of people would sign up. In the intervening couple of weeks, because I was off last week to go to a meetup here locally in Frederick, but in the intervening couple of weeks, I've actually had a fair number of people sign up for trialing. So things that need to get done are actually doing some trial expiration, because if you go to Journey Inbox today, and you try and go to the sign up page, so here I am on a private tab, you'll see it says, hey, we're closed. And that's because we limited it to 20 people. And because there's nothing to expire those existing trials from happening, it means that basically for the time being, sign up is permanently closed on the service. And that's not great. We want to be able to have people try it out. So we need to fix that. The other thing, hey Gabriel, welcome. Glad you're here. I found some other things along the way that we'll go through, but we'll do probably one at a time. Actually, I'll just speak to them very, very briefly so you get an idea of what we're going to be working on tonight, and then we can get to some other things if we have time. So I assigned myself as the person for these so that we can quickly filter down to what we're going to focus on. So this trial expiration job, that'll be the thing that allows us to take trial members and move them to trial expired. That will open up more slots for the sign up. So this is the thing that will help us get past that blocking condition of having 20 people signed up or trialing at once. The other thing that we want to focus on is I noticed that I'm getting a bunch of spam. Actually, hold on. I'm going to go to my secret mode because I need to get into Sentry and I'm probably not signed in. So something's probably going to say, oh, hey, cool. I didn't have to do that. So let's bring this back. And so Sentry, you can see this message right at the top saying, hey, you're at your performance limit. So the way this is working right now is every time I get a request, or every time there is a request, Chandra, welcome. Glad you're here. Every time there's a request on Journey Inbox of any kind to any URL, whether it's a real URL route or not, that gets logged by Sentry. And what I found over the last couple of weeks is that there's a bunch of garbage happening that has nothing to do with stuff we care about and is chewing up the quota. So I'm on the free tier of Sentry right now, and the app is going to have so few routes that I can probably stay on the free tier indefinitely, but it means I need to do a little bit of cleanup in order to make sure that we get some actual signal here. And if you go down to, so what is it that's causing the problem? It's script kiddies. And script kiddies are classically like people that have a set of tools that allow them to start trying to find exploits on web servers. And what they commonly look for are things like WordPress installations that are vulnerable. WordPress powers a ton of the internet. And so it's very often you'll see things like, here's a request right at the top here that's looking for an admin.php site. So we're going to take some steps that will help us tell Sentry to not even bother sending this data to Sentry. So the application has got a little hook that can fire every time a request comes in that will decide, do I want to send this to Sentry or not? And we can add in some filtering rules on there that will help us to filter out a lot of this garbage. So everything that ends, and this is not a PHP app, so our simplest solution is going to be to check that the path ends with .php, and that should filter out a ton of stuff. Because as you can see, we go through here, almost all of these that are trash end in .php. So that's probably how we'll start. So that's one item we're going to do. And then finally, there's another thing that is important to fix here. And in fact, if I was to sequence these, we're going to do the trial expiration first, and then we'll do this one, and then we'll get to the Sentry thing. But this one right here is something I wrote up today. What I discovered is that people can sign up, and I can't show you the admin page because, first of all, the URL would link where my secret token is, and I had to rotate that last time, and that was a mess. But I did it. But second, secondarily, like it shows actual email addresses for users, so I can't show you this page. But if I were to show you the emails page for users that signed up for a trial, what you would find is that even though I said that there were 20, well, it's technically 22 people who have signed up because I am listed in an exempt status, and then I have one active customer right now. So there's 22 people that are currently signed up. All of the other 20 are in the trialing state. But of that trialing group, I think only 2 out of 20 were actually people who had clicked the verify email to complete their sign-up process. But the code that I have right now is sending them email prompts without that verification. And that's not good because it means that somebody who is signing up, and I even saw an example of this that was probably they were following along on my stream, and they used matt@testing.com just like I had used on the stream for my local host. So they tried the same thing, and I saw a user account that has matt@testing.com. That's not a real, to my knowledge, that's not a real email address. I think testing.com is a reserved domain by someone. And so that's not going anywhere. The problem is that my app is currently trying to send emails to that email address. And if that continues, it's probably going to hurt the sending reputation of Journey Inbox. And it's very important, since this app is all about sending and receiving email, that sending reputation remains high. So what we need to do is filter out those accounts that have not verified their email yet, because I don't have confidence that they are real email addresses. So that will prevent a lot of people who are just tire kickers and just trying to sign up, and we need to get those out of there. All right, so let's jump into it. Let's go to the trial job expiration stuff, and I'm going to steal pretty heavily here from the homeschool application. In fact, I need to get a new terminal running with homeschool, because there's code in there that is exactly what I'd want to run. We might have to change some dates, but it's otherwise does what we want to do. And then we want to hook it up to our job process. So we'll have this too. So let's activate a virtual environment here and get homeschool running so that it's available. And then we can come over on this side, and this is the Journey Inbox area. So actually, let's start over on the homeschool side and go look for the job, and we'll talk through the job that's there. I think it's a job. Maybe it's not a job. Maybe I made a separate command. All right, command. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so I made this one as a command, but we're going to probably convert this to a job because we have we're currently running in Heroku a daily thing that runs our jobs system. In fact, if we show, I can show it here. So if we do manage and we do help, we see all of our commands. And from Django extensions, we have this thing called run jobs, and you can specify the frequency at which to run these things. So we have a daily job right now, which is sending out the prompts. And so we would add another daily job to that mix that will do the actual trial expiration. And since that daily stuff is already hooked up, we won't have to do any configuration on the Heroku side. It just becomes added to the list of things that get run by the daily job runner. And I believe I can show, I believe run jobs can show what's configured. Let's check that out. Yeah, see list, there's a list option. So you can see I've got my daily for send mail. There's also a couple things. It's doing some cache cleanup. So we're getting some, anybody who visits gets a session. And so it's cleaning those out. And then it's doing, I don't know what this daily cleanup job is. That one is beyond me, but I'm sure it's doing something cool if it's default. So yeah, we'll start there and write our job that will go along with this. So the area wanted, so let's just take a look at this code first. This is the homeschool app. It's doing something similar. It won't be, what is going on? Wow, that's weird. I upgraded some of my tooling, and I'm getting some weirdness when I'm trying to navigate here. Okay, hopefully that doesn't happen on this code over here. If it does, we're gonna have to fix that. Okay, so you can see what's happening is we've got a certain number of trials days configured for this application, and we put that in a constants area. And what I did was, you can see my philosophy here is I don't want to have to argue with any customers who are saying like, hey, I didn't get my full trial on this. That would be silly. So I added essentially a full extra day. And that's probably something we'll do here. So I'm going to have a constant period of like 2 weeks or something to say this is the amount of time you can try Journey Inbox. And we're actually, under the covers, we'll give them really 15 days so that there's no possibility of anybody saying, hey, I didn't get my trial. In fact, I might just give them a couple extra days because this is running daily and they won't actually get their first engagement until potentially a day has passed. We might just do like a couple of days. But the logic is not very hard here, where it looks for what is the current time, and then go back however many trial days there are, and look for any accounts that had a start, their date joined is less than that cutoff period. And if that's true, then these are the accounts that we need to expire and set their status to a new status. So that's effectively what's going on with this code and what we need to mirror. So first thing I want to do, let's look at the jobs that we have already. And we can probably, I think actually what I want to do is just steal all this code. Oh, shoot. So I didn't have this problem when I updated, but this is going to make any kind of editing, like I cannot even hit K without that blowing up in my face. That's not cool. So we might have to turn something off here to get this to go. Let's see, this is complaining about a plugin that I have called indent blank line. So sorry, I didn't expect to be doing any NeoVim editor configuration. Hopefully this is not too lengthy of a process, but let's go over there and try and turn that off. Yeah, apologies for the detour, and then I'll have to fix this after offline. So we want to go to where my dot files are, and I want to come over here, and I want to go to the indent blank line plugin that I have. I think I can get by this by just saying apparently there are a bunch of settings I need to turn off. Let's try setting this to enabled false, I think is what we can do. And with any luck, that's all we have to do for this. Let's get out of here. Let's bring this back. We'll go back to that jobs file. And okay. I've lost my indentation guidelines, which is what that plugin was doing, but that's okay. I'll figure out whatever was broken later. Okay. That's funny. You get so used to some of that stuff. It's like now this code looks awfully empty over here, but whatever. What we need to do is create a job, and we need to put it in the accounts area, because this is where it's what makes the most sense. So we have to go up and go into a different app. And in here, we're going to create a new directory called jobs. And first things we need to do is make this a package. So I'm going to create an init.py file. And I'm just going to save that. And then we go up and we need to, I think the file name is what the job becomes called. So we'll create a new one called, I'll name it the same thing I did on the homeschool app and call it expire trials, py. I'm going to paste all of the code that I have in here so far. And let's see, we'll say the help is going to be expire trialing accounts that are past the trial window. That's what this does. And then this code, I think we can just gut the code. So let's take all this implementation and just delete that. And there's a bunch of stuff that's going to complain about. We probably need some of these pieces. Like we're going to need the time zone to calculate now, but we're not going to render anything. We don't need Django AnyMail. We will need to have accounts. We won't have any models to deal with. So we should be able to do this. Oh, wow. It got rid of my unused import. That's a new change happening too. So previously my unused imports would stay, but now they seem to be not be staying, and I don't know which. It's probably my new rough configuration is set to clean up unused imports automatically, which normally is handy, but in this case I want to keep them. So let's leave it like this. We just won't save it for a moment. And then we'll come over here and quit this and bring this back up and say expire trials. That's where we need to go. And we'll take this code right here and we'll copy it and paste it. It's not going to be exactly right, but it's actually going to be pretty close. So we need, does my code action stuff work? There's no code actions, come on. There's a code action. That should be able to say, hey, this is an unused import, or this is an import that's missing. But it's not doing even that. All right, whatever. So we need to import date time. Should give us access to the time delta. And then account is, in this context, just status. Okay. I also changed some of my shortcuts. So I've got some adjustments to get used to. Apologies if I'm seeming pretty clumsy tonight, because I am, most likely. And I think we're just going to print instead of doing the standard out stuff. That was, the standard out thing was coming from Django's way of doing management commands. They give you a different way to reach standard out. So we're just going to print this time. It'll be fine. It doesn't really matter. So here we'll say check for expired trials. Why not? All right, so first things first, we need to do, we need to create a constants package. Do we? I don't know that we do. I think, well, maybe we should, because I might reuse the constant for telling you how many days the trial is on the index page, or on wherever we're explaining like what that is. And if I wanted to be able to change it, like let's say I'm finding 14 days is too long, too short, I don't know, then I'd have one place to do it. So let's do that. So we'll say, we'll create, I think for the moment, we'll change this to status. And save that. And then I'm going to come up, and I want to create this is the accounts app. That's where we are currently located. So let's create our constants area here. So let's do constants. And we'll do trial days is equal to 14. I don't feel like that needs any documentation string. It's pretty obvious what that means to me. And since I'm the one that has to look at it mostly, that's what I'm going to keep it at. And now we can go into jobs and expired trials and say, do a relative import from 2 directories up. Well, the LSP needs to restart. LSP restart. 2 directories up, we have the constants module. So import constants. Yeah, the biggest thing that I changed, or one of the biggest things I changed when I was updating my configuration, is I used to have tab complete from all of the autocomplete stuff, but the recommendation that I found for NeoVim for this particular configuration was to try it with Control Y to actually accept an autocomplete thing, and I'm deciding whether I like that or not. So that's what's happening. So we'll say give an extra couple of days to be gracious and avoid customer complaints, and we'll say +2. It's actually 16 days in reality. That's good for me. And then the logic is going to be the same. So we have an account that we carried over. I renamed the status attribute, but the thing we want to check against is the date joined. And then what we're going to do is after we find all of those accounts that are expired, then we can do an update on them. Now what we could do, but I don't know if it's worth it, is extract this into a method and say, because does it really matter to know if it's trialing or know that it's particularly on the date joined field? Like I could potentially make this a method and say expired trials as a method in of itself, and that would return a query set, and then we can do this kind of update all in one line. They would take in the trial cutoff as like the date of what to check against. Let me think. Do I want to do that? Well, first, let's go and let's see if we've created this job properly. So we've got this new thing showing up called expired trials. So we know we've satisfied the interface for Django extensions here. DJ Stripe webhook secret is showing that it doesn't start with WSEC. That's annoying. We also have I002. I thought I fixed that. Did I not? Oh, I might have fixed it on Homeschool. I think I was seeing it on the Homeschool app too, because I did some work on Homeschool. Let's go back into Homeschool. Let's pull this. And settings. Yeah, I fixed it there. Okay. So let's go in here, go to the settings file, and let's show how we can get rid of some of these annoying warnings. So the I002, as I mentioned, when we were doing the Stripe integration, what we found is that there were a couple of settings that DJ Stripe was saying you can set purely via the database. But in practice, we found that that wasn't actually the case. So ironically, what's complaining here on this informational message is you're using those settings that you shouldn't have to use. And you can remove these, but that's not what's happening. So I want to take this silenced system checks, and what that will do is tell us, hey, I know, be quiet. Like it's not important. So I'm going to steal this outright and yank all that. And then we'll go to our own settings. I don't think we have this anywhere right now. No. Where do I keep that? I kept it by the security stuff. Okay, that's a reasonable place. Security, and we'll paste it right here. And now that we have that, we should be able to come back over here and rerun that command, and that informational message will go away. All right, then we can we can update our DJ Stripe webhook secret. So it doesn't matter what it is, but I want it to not be that annoying. So we'll probably have our example, env example. So it can't just be webhook fake secret, it needs to be WHSEC. It needs to look like a webhook secret according to Stripe. So that should be enough. So I'm going to switch over to my secrets for a second. And I'm going to do the same thing to my actual.env file and find DJ Stripe webhook secret, which also reads reads fake secret. And I'm just going to prefix it with WSEC like the other one. And then come back. There I am. So now we have those messages should go away. Okay, now we just have pure information. The other thing we need to do is validate. We need to test this. And I already have a test for this expire jobs. I'm sure of it. Whoops. So let's go to expire trials. And there's probably over here, there's probably a test commands. And okay, so here we go. We've got, let's look at these tests and see if we want to, how we want to, if we might just take them all. So let's just assume that we're going to take them all. And it's not commands, but it's jobs. So let's go into accounts area. And we want a new file called test jobs py. And we'll paste all that in here. And a bunch of this like is not real. So we've got, instead of homeschool, this will be journal. That should match up. We need to import our job, which we've just called job. So we want to do from journal. Wow, I'm really not used to that. Journal dot counts dot jobs dot expire trial. That I'm not sure I like that. Because I'm having to do Control Y for each of those completions, which is pretty annoying on imports. Maybe I should just type it out. Anyway, so we've got that. We know we have the models, so let's change this to journal. And we know we need a factory, so we're going to change that to journal. And then we don't need this test case. In case there is another job in the future, we can leave this as a test case class, but it's not going to inherit from test case. And I think a lot of this we can keep the same. We don't, hold on, jobs, oh come on, jobs. So the difference is that this is not called handle. It's not a command. So we want to change this to this line from command to be job is job. There's only one. Probably want to rename that in the future, but that's okay. And then job dot execute. That keeps biting me. And we don't need the string IO. And we need to call this status. How do I accept that? Okay. So we've got our trialing status. We're creating an account that has the trialing status. The time that they've joined is now minus a delta of older than, so this should be an old trial. And we want to check that this is in the account status trial expired state by the end. All right, these tests below won't run, but this one should run okay. And good, it passes. That tells me our logic over here is working properly. We'll steal these couple of lines and we'll bring this down here and get rid of the command. And we will replace, let's see, substitute account status with just status. Okay, so test keeps active trials. I think I had a bug when I first wrote this and I was accidentally like not keeping the trials going. So this is just confirming that if you are active, it's not going to immediately expire your account if you try and run this. So that test passes, that's good. Oh, here was the real bug. So I had somebody, maybe even me, that was in the exempt state, and it got marked to trial or to inactive, or yeah, to the trial expired state because it was catching all of the accounts. That was bad. So we've got an active account. It's older though, and we want to make sure that it stays active after this is done. And we're going to change this to status. Okay. All right, so here's something I'm trying to figure out. My autocomplete selects, which is okay but now I'm still in insert mode, and I want to get out of insert mode. Okay, I guess I can do Control left brace. That's fine. All right, so I'm going to save, and I'm going to run the whole file. Cool. So this should give us 100% coverage here, and I feel pretty good about this. Let's check it out, make sure that it's all happy and that we've covered everything. And I might want to go ahead and deploy it and actually run this to see if we can process the jobs. No, I want to wait before I do that because I don't want folks signing up before I've made one of those other changes, but we'll get this on deck to go. So let's check out all the code. We've got now our example file includes whsec, so it doesn't complain about that. Although thinking about that, let's go to the GitHub workflow. Okay, I did fix that over here already. Okay, we've got our trials period. We've got the job that actually does the work. We probably should mention, okay, this is maybe a good time to actually use the trial in another place, unless I state this somewhere. I don't know that I explained this well to actual users who are signing up. Also, so I'm remembering, in the last couple of weeks, I got messages from, automated messages of course, but from Stripe saying that I needed to do some additional account verification. Part of that was verifying what this business does, and they couldn't do it from the amount of information that was present on the site. And that's because initially the version that we deployed last time I was streaming had no interface on the landing page. So if you bring this up and you go to Journey Inbox, and I said I'd talk through this on Twitter or X, so I added this chunk of code. I promised to do as much as I can online during stream and write all the code, but this is the one chunk of code that I added. So in case you're curious, you can go look at the commits. It's really not anything shocking. It's a few divs with some spacing and then this copy. But I think what we can say here as a way to help people understand, this explains what it is, but it doesn't explain what you're getting when you sign up. Even that page doesn't. On the regular sign up page, I don't think it says either. So let's check a couple things. Let's check the sign up template. Doesn't mention anything about, it's just like sign up. And I don't know that I mentioned how many days. I might mention that on the homeschool app. Let's check that out. And if I do, did I bring that in from a constant, or did I? Oh, I just hard coded it. Okay. All right. Should I dynamically add this to some page? I think so. Okay, let's go to our core views, and we're going to add right on the index page to the unauthenticated page. Well, I guess they're for either of them, it'll be the same context. We'll put it right here as trial days. Okay, and then we'll do constants. Got me again. Constants, trial days. Okay. So now we're adding that to our template or our index page, and we can go to our index page itself, and then here, oh, here's the chunk of code. I mean, it's literally just a few divs. What is the file type set? HTML Django, that does not look good. All right, worry about that later. So I think what I want to do is before you hit the sign up button, or maybe after, well, I guess I put it after on this other one, didn't I? I said your 60-day free trial awaits. Did I put it on the button? Sorry, I'm jumping back and forth. I think it's after the button. But this is a different page. I should stop getting hung up on this. Let's do this. Let's do a div here. And we want to do, well, let's make it part of the other area. I guess it could be a paragraph. Why not? Put an margin here. I want to space this out because it's like a separate. So this is like a message that I'm signing to people. So I want there to be some separation there. And we'll say paragraph, close that. And let's see, by signing up, or what can we say? You can enjoy Journey Inbox for free for, here's where we're going to put trial days. No credit card required for sign up. All right, let's try that. And I think we'll probably want to put this in like a lighter text, some kind of gray. Let's see how it looks though. Back over here, and let's go to localhost. What? We're on localhost. Did I not save that? Oh. Dummy. This is the signed in index page. All right. So get rid of that. Delete this line. MB4. Okay. We'll just say no credit card required. That might get us down to one line. Okay, cool. And I want to give this more space. Like I want this to be really clear. We'll do an 8. And then class. I don't remember the colors though. Oops. I could just bring the brightness down, but I might just pick a different. I don't think that's the best way to pick grayscales. Text, color. So we've got our current colors, and these are like a bunch of slate colors that are, I can't remember if we're using gray anywhere or slate. Let's check on that first. Slate, no matches for slate. Gray, we've got some gray. Okay. It's because slate has kind of a bluer tint to it, I think, which I'm not sure fits with the color scheme that we're going for, which is kind of a green and warm. And yeah, we're not, I don't think we're doing zinc either. Zinc. Nope. So let's try text gray. Start with like 700. Pretty dark. That's too dark. You can barely notice the difference. 500? I don't know. I want it to be legible. Just wanted to be not like the most prominent thing. That's 600. It feels okay. Okay. I think now we're done for real. Let's run the test suite to make sure that we have full coverage still. I think we should, because we only added the jobs and we thoroughly tested that one job. It's probably more lines of test code than there was actual code. Now, let's check it out. We have our trials, we have our job. Pretty confident. I know that this code more or less has been working on homeschool for a long time, so I'm not worried about it, and we've got some good tests on it. Got our constants, and we've added that to our index page. We've silenced that message, and then we updated the page. Okay. So let's do this. We'll say expire. Well, no. Add expire trials job. This fixes, what number was that? I don't even know. 55. Been open for a while. Okay, I think that we are ready to tackle the next one. So let me open this one. And again, this is about, especially if you're just joining in, this is about where it's currently sending people emails even if they did not verify their email in the sign-up process. The sign-up process is a two-step process, and that's not good because it can hurt sending or my sending rating on Journey Inbox, which I don't want. So we need to do two things. We actually need to update the sending logic so that it doesn't send unless there's a verified email. Also, I want to tell people that they will not receive emails until they verify. And I think that letting people know that might affect the number. It might just reduce the number of tire kickers, frankly. There are people that wanted to try the service. And maybe, I don't know if I should just tell them in multiple spots, like should this be on the sign up page of you're not going to be able to, nah, that's too late. There's a page that follows up after you click sign up that says check your email inbox or something like that. And that's the page that I'll have to say we're not going to send you anything until we verify. So that's the plan here. Let me show you in the admin what this looks like first, so you can see where these are. And it's some Boolean state on an email that is that's connected via probably Django all auth, because this is where our sign up process is coming from. So let's start this up. And if we go over here and go to, nope, not that one. That's the real site. Let's go down. So here we are, we're on 5001. I thought I might be signed in, but apparently I'm not. So let's sign in, and we'll do token admin. And this is what, Matt, or what is it? I don't know, it's in the README. Matt and create horse. Matt, create horse. Okay. So you can see right at the top, we have accounts and email addresses. And if we click in here, you can see that some of these, as we were doing testing, went through the actual verification process and were marked as verified. And this is the clear indicator of if you don't click the link, this Boolean never gets checked. And we don't even have anything to change primary. So primary will always be the same. That's just that gets checked to true when you first sign up. And since there's no way that I'm exposing to change that, that's going to be forever true. That's not the big deal. But I don't want to send an email if this Boolean state is false. That's what we need to correct. we click on one of these, it's connected via a foreign key. So we might be able to find out, we might be able to search for, I'm trying to figure out what's the right filter condition to get this. Where we want, this is a Boolean, so we want only to filter on people that have active statuses, which we already have in the job, but also that they have some verified emails. So if I bring up the shell plus, and we'll take a look at this, and we pull from equal user objects first, I think this should be, hopefully this is Matt. Yep. So this is me, or my main account here, which I believe was verified. And if we do a dir on that user, we can find through here anything that has related things on it, unless they've turned that off. So if this came from Django all auth, I would hope to find a reverse name, like for emails or something. So there's the email. It's hard to see on all of this stuff. For F field in dir u print F. Okay. So a bunch of attributes that we can't use. Ryan, thanks. Appreciate. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about print, but yeah, that probably would have been work too. Bunch of attributes there that we're not going to use. These are class things. These are hidden things. We get down here though. This is what I'm starting to look for. Related email address set. So that's the default name that we could use on the related manager. So we could say, like, if we look at this, we've got you, and we could say email address set, like that. And then we'd say, if we did all, it's going to find out, well, it's a query set, but we can resolve that to a list if we wanted to force the resolution. And there's an email address. So then we could do a filter on this to see that it's verified. So how would we do that? So that would look like email address set filter. I assume it's going to be called verified because that's what the name of the property, but it'll be in lowercase. So verified equal true. And that should give an email address back. So there's proving that it was that thing was verified. Some of those would come back with an empty set. So the question is, like, how do we formulate this into, we only care if it really exists or not. We don't really care. Matthias, welcome. We only care that it's there. It's not like we're going to use it. We just want to know that the person's done it. Ryan, is there a way to change a related name using the model meta but not break existing code? That is a fantastic question. Not that I know of, to be honest. I feel like if you're going to change the related name, it's going to affect kind of globally, which means you'd have to be able to search for that related name and any usage of it, and then seek that out. But I say that with someone who's never actively tried to investigate that. I'm trying to think what else you might do. If I was to do that, if I was to try and safely do what you're trying to do, I think what I would do is something like this. Like, let's pretend, let's go to the user models or the and it doesn't really matter. Any models. Well, that one doesn't have models in it. Come on. Accounts models. So here's our account. We've got a one-to-one. This is backwards. This is the wrong side, so this isn't going to make sense. But let's just pretend that this is working right. Let's pretend that this account had that email address set thing. because somewhere else set that connection. And you want to preserve that behavior. And how would you do that? I think if I were in that scenario, what I would do is I'd add a property. And by adding the property, I could add this as like a compatibility shim. And if I did this like this, and then had that return self dot whatever you updated the related name to be, then to, maybe we wanted to change it to email addresses, like that. Then I think that even if you had email address set out there somewhere, it's going to resolve to this and resolve to the new name, the new related name that you added. That's how I would probably try and tackle that if I wanted to be safe about it. If I couldn't with confidence do this all in one fell swoop, the best thing that I would recommend doing, if you can, if it's a pretty small or a small enough code base, is find all of the instances of that and just replace them all at once. But this is probably a safe way to handle that. Yep, you're right. It probably there's a chance that it might have problems with the ORM. I don't know though. It's an attribute. Yeah, you may be right. There might be hidden gotchas that I'm not thinking about. Whoa. Stop. Undo history goes too far. Okay, so we've got email addresses, and I'm trying to think of what's the best way to formulate this so that we can just turn this into a Boolean. No problem. My brain goes to exists as part of the condition. So let's look at the job and the send mail job. And right now we've got this stated as we want this active query, and we want to do a select related. Now the challenge with this is, how am I going to filter this so that it's the condition where you have a related manager is doing like a subquery filter? That may not even make sense what I just said until we actually look at this. So right now the query set's pretty easy, where it's checking for the filter state. And I'm trying to think, because it's two conditions that are joined together, right? And I'm wondering if, do I even care to make this super performant? It probably doesn't matter. Yeah, I think that's where I'm landing. So I don't care enough to fret too much about this. We can make this to be, what could we call this? Let's kind of hash this out. What do I think I'd call this? I'd probably call this, I don't know, promptable. Maybe a terrible name. Promptable accounts, or just promptable. See if I like that. The idea is like what we're doing in this daily execute thing is that they're receiving a prompt. So if you're receiving a prompt, it's a promptable is the kind of the way to state that as a who is eligible to receive prompts. And we know it's going to be the active accounts, and then we know it's going to be the ones that have the verified emails. So how do we? Can we do this in one way? I'm struggling to think if we can. So if we start with calling active, that's one thing we could do. So that gets us right from the get-go. That gets us about halfway there. And then I'm trying to think of is there a way that I can do what was it? Email address? Email address set. The problem is that if I do this, what I'm getting back is not active accounts that have it. It would just be the actual email addresses, which is not really what we want. So can we do, and then I don't think you can do a filter on the related manager. That's not a property. So if like, let's say we went back for, if we compared to, I'm all tabbing all over the place. If we compare to this list, shoot, turn that off. I want to keep both of those things up, so let's fire up a new one here. I want to be able to show you all the actual UI, and then so that we can talk about the query and know if we've got success. We've got 8 of these total, and of them, half are verified. I'd like to be able to get back, if I did a user filter or a user query, like if we do how many users are there right now, there should be, well, there's 28, there's way more. Okay. So that's even more than I was expecting. I think that's because we made some with factories maybe. So we want, what if it's, we want account objects active count. Wow, it's still more than we want. Oh yeah, we got too much trash data in here, y'all, for this to make sense. Okay. I want to have confidence in the query before I do too much of it. But I guess where I was going is like, I don't think that I could then filter and say email address set verified. I don't think this will work. True. Yeah, doesn't know what that, it's not a field. So it doesn't know how to resolve that because it's a related manager. So I think we're stuck with maybe getting the accounts and then doing a secondary query on which of them have verified emails. Man, really getting wrapped up on this one. Because then what do we have to do to join them together? We have to like match. It's been a while since I've done some of these Django queries. So we've got, okay, maybe, what if we think of this differently? What if we think of this, is that not what I did? Oh, you're saying email address, like I could get, I think maybe what you're saying is like, give me all of the verified emails and then do like a list of those IDs. So these are, yeah, like one, you know, these are IDs of the, if we did this in 2 queries, that one was actually on the email address of all the verified, I think we're going to run into maybe some trouble with that. I don't know how well that will scale, because if we get, over time, there will eventually be, there could eventually be a lot of verified emails in the system if this product has any success. The field name is verified on the email address. I think that's what we were looking at earlier. Well, I didn't actually do a dir on this, but if we did user email address set first verified, yeah, all verified. So maybe the performance doesn't matter. Maybe I can just do, because if I'm being realistic, the number of people that are active, especially in this early stage of this product, is a small number. So we probably could literally go through and say, get all the active, and then do, from here, do a comprehension that says verified accounts. Okay, I'm going to hack this out and see how how bad we feel about this. Q verified equal true. Oh, I'm not sure what do I do that on. That's where I'm getting stuck. Like, it's been a while since I've been in any complex Django ORM stuff, as you might be able to tell. But so if you have a thought on how I would combine that with a filter on a related manager set, that's where I'm getting stuck. So let's say account for, or just, yeah, I'll put out the full word. Account for account in accounts if account email set, email address set dot filter verified equal true exists. Now, the problem is like, this is a query for every account, and so it's slow. Whoops, accounts. That's why that stinks. Email address set active filter. So the email address set, the related manager is not going to have the active thing from my account manager. So this is a related manager on the email address model. That's what's coming into play here. So somehow we would need to combine the account manager with the email address manager. That's why I'm finding this difficult. So, do I care enough to make this faster? Probably not, if I'm being truthful. Because this runs like early in the morning. It's a background job. If we're truly limiting this to all of the people that are considered active, which again is 3 states. It's well, you can see them over here: trialing, active, and exempt. That would be 22, and then this would be 22 queries. Let me pause there. I do feel a little gross about it, so I'm trying to think of what else I could do. We know, okay, let's say people trial this over time and they actually continue to use it. We know that the verified list is likely going to outpace the number of active accounts. Almost certainly. It doesn't do that today, but in the future, especially if I convey this properly, the number of verified emails will be larger than the number of people who are in the trial state and are either paying or trialing. So we could get all of the IDs for the accounts. We could go against the email set, and using that in operator that you were showing earlier, Ryan, but not against the related manager, we could query all the IDs on that are in the verified state, because then we'd have a combination. We'd have the 2 conditions that we need, which is the set of account of the user IDs and the verified Boolean status, and we'd be able to get this down. I'm realizing now that this is actually not even right, because this is on user, so that's not correct. So it'd be this: count user email addresses. That's complicating that even further. Where there's actually 3 managers involved here. Okay, because I realize that's a factor, this will be fine for now. And I'm gonna eat the query cost. It's okay. So if that's the case, then we just need to test that this condition is working. I'm almost positive that my test code is not accounting for this. So this, if I wrote my test correctly, test should break because there will be no verified email address associated with this, and things that should be running will not be, because they're missing a condition. I'm going to leave a comment here that says that this is not great, So this is a suboptimal query because the comprehension is doing an n+1 query for every account. Because n is small at this stage, I don't care. Malik, when you say you can filter them on the first place, I'm curious as to what you mean. I'm definitely, if folks are like, Matt, you're just being dumb and not thinking through this well, I'm definitely open to being persuaded to do this in one go. Okay, let's turn off this worker. Let's come over here and get out of this, and let's try and run the test suite. Hopefully we see some failures, or at least 1 or 2 failures. Yep. So we've got some tests that are not quite right. We got to go fix our test case that's testing that job. Make sure that it meets the conditions. Oh. If this is all on, which it is, you just tested user objects filter, email address. Is that a property on? How does that work? Because that's not a property on user. That's what I'm confused about. All right, let's bring up Shell Plus again and keep poking. So user. So you're saying, let's try it. User objects filter, email address, verified, true. How many users is that? Let's see, what's that count? 4. Well, Ryan, I'm puzzled. What is it about that made that work? Because am I crazy? Was there a email address on user and I just missed it? Whoops. User objects first. There's email address set. And yeah, I was looking at the account model in my code, but here I'm looking at the user and I don't see just email address. I'm not sure how that's resolving. Is there help? Well, this shouldn't. Email address. User object has no attribute email address. So how was the manager able to do that? What? Okay. Now I'm really curious. Let's go look at the all auth code for a minute. Where is this going to be? Count. So here's email address. And here's verified. Remus, welcome. What made me choose Django? I think you're right about, I think I agree with you on some aspects of some of the batteries are maybe not as useful as they could be. Or or as you phrase them, they seem like they're almost dead. That's fair. But there are plenty of things in here that are stitched together well enough that make Django appealing to me. The fact that I don't have to wire in my own templates library and think about configuration, and I've got an ORM that's already built in. So it's like the core things that are there that really make Django appealing, especially compared to, and again, if anybody likes Flask, I'm not hating on Flask. It's not my preferred style. The Flask style of building it up yourself, where you start with a small core and building that up, it's just not my preferred style of doing that. So, and then where you talk about like OAuth and stuff, that's where I found stuff like Django AllAuth here to be really valuable to help implement those sort of things. These things are not without their head scratchers. Like here I am trying to figure out why does Ryan's query that he provided look like it works? I don't always have the answer for everything, but I think generally I found that Django does the kind of stuff that I want it to do. And when it doesn't, the tools to reach for are known to me because I've been doing it for so long, and also pretty robust. So that's been my take on it. But there's lots of other great tools out there. Like, for example, I don't know if I purely was making an API, I'm not positive that I would reach for Django anymore. I might reach for like fast API, especially if it needs to be very schema oriented. But it's hard to beat the combination of like, well, now I need to do some server render pages and that kind of stuff too. Yeah, you're right. It is a lot of mostly about what does your business need, and the user truly does not care. They really don't. As long as it works, they don't care. So not knocking anybody who wants to do that. I want to keep going on this email address. Like, there's the manager. Okay, there's a manager. Maybe we can keep going. Did it expose something to make that filter work? Because this is just going to bug. Or is there something I fundamentally don't understand? That could be the case too, about the way foreign key relationships are wired. Because it was just a foreign key, right? It wasn't even a one-to-one field. So here's manager on the email address. Got some methods on it. None of them. Well, Ryan, you've got me stumped. I don't know what it is that made that work. Cool though. I'm trying to think how I would use it, because you're right that I don't have the user available. So it's really because I'm in my code here, I'm coming in from the account, and I'm calling the account active, and I'm getting that. So is it like a double user set thing here? Like if I look at the dir on account, there's a one-to-one field per account. So I don't know that I can even get access to the managers for those. Yeah, you're right. But is it so what is that doing? Is it pulling? Is it no to enough to figure out to pull? Because if there's a one-to-many relationship from user to email, or is it trying to get any? Because there could be two things that happen there. There's one where it's like, are any of the email addresses associated with that true? Which I guess would be fine. That there is a verified email on file, and I know that I'm not giving users any option to add in more email addresses, so that would work. Yeah, all right, let's try it now. So we've said that there are 4. And you're right. So we could do, let's try that with the account version. Account objects filter with user email address verified equal true. What's the count on that? 2. Oh. Now I'm really curious. Who's that going to be? What? All right. So let's throw those into some accounts. Or hold on. Accounts. And we'll do that. We'll actually evaluate it. We've got 2 accounts here. Account 0 user, who are you? Testing 6. And who is the other one? Matt. All right, let's look at our data. Did I turn that off? I think I did. Turn that back on. Did maybe some of these I didn't. Oh, you know what it might have been? I might have deleted some of the accounts here. Jeez. Rabbit hole. Okay. Can we make that accounts look nice quickly? So list, display. Let's see, we want to have ID and user. Let's try that. Yeah, so okay. Wait, yeah, we could update the stir method. You're right. Probably better. This tells me what I thought might happen. So I think what happened is at some point I deleted all of those email addresses that are over here. I don't know what. I'm confused. Like, where did they go? Oh, I deleted the accounts, but I didn't delete the user. So I did this backwards. That must have been it. I was probably trying to test something, and I came into the admin and deleted the accounts when I should have been deleting the users. And the users would have cleaned up everything because there's a cascade on a lot of those foreign keys. All right, so this makes sense, mostly. I still don't understand how email address is doing its thing, but I'm going to accept it, and that's fine. This should work and would save me a lot of the query stuff. So we want to get, if we go back to the admin now and return to this promptable thing, then what we really want, I think, is if I call it the same thing, if I call it promptable, then we should get, we start with the active. So say self active, that's a method. So we need to call that. So this is our active query set. That's going to give us the right starting condition. And then from there, I think we can take active and we can filter again to do the rest of that stuff, which would be user email address verified equal true. Right? Let's check it, because we know what the answer should be now. We know it should be 2. And so let's bring this up and say account objects promptable count 2. Cool. And we should probably test that code if we're being good, but I don't know that I will. And then we can change this to promptable really not liking. I'm not sure I'm liking that this change in how I'm doing tab completion. And then we get rid of this stuff, and we're back to probably what we should be doing. So Ryan, thanks for the suggestion. Appreciate it. Thanks for the nudge to keep powering through and make something better than crap. It makes me want to go explore what's going on in related managers to make that stuff work. But yeah. But that still should still leave us with broken tests, I believe. Those 2 tests are still broken because we now have a new condition that's saying, hey, you need a verified email. So we can go to our tests and the test job, and all of these jobs, they need to have more in the account factory. Now they're creating a valid, is the right one? Nope, wrong one. Entry jobs. They're creating a valid user, and this user factory is creating a an account as part of it. I think. Let's check it out. Yeah, you can see it's got, well, does it? Mute signals on the post save, so it's not creating a user. If you're going from the user factory, how is that making an account? Huh. Send an email. Really? Well, that's a little surprising. I'm also wondering, why did I set it up this way? Oh, you know what I think it was? I think I started with an assumption that I'd be using users rather than accounts. And this just happened to keep working. That's kind of strange. This is not instilling confidence in these tests. Sending prompts to active accounts. And got nothing. Maybe it did actually set up the account, the factory did, and I don't know why. Well, let's keep going. So we know that we have all auth is the place that we need an email address from. So I want to create a new factory, and our factory, whoops, wrong factory file. So up here we need to create a factory for the email address. So let's do from all auth models. Was it in models? Yeah. Import email. Is that not where it was? We were just looking at it. Oh, account. Okay. Account. Models. Import email address. And now we can come down here, and we're gonna need to use a user factory, I guess, if yeah. So we'll put it below here. Say class email address factory. And I think what I want to do is probably make it so it's verified by default, because that's really what we are most interested in for these tests anyway. Hold on. If we verify it by default, then the things we won't get is like if we're trying to check on sign up. Yeah, I think that's fine. So we'll say email address And then down here, we can say verified equal true. We'll do as a, pretty sure had a user field, right? Yep, user. And we can put in, I know there's a way with Factory Boy to use properties from something, from like if you're gonna pass in a user, there's a way to say use an attribute from this other model that you're about to use. I don't know if I care to make it that accurate. It would mean finding that thing. I also don't remember. Oh man. We'll look for like 2 minutes, and then if we can't find it, we'll just keep moving. Talk about signals. Nope. All right, none here. And dependent objects. Okay, so here's our example of how we're doing a foreign key. We've done that. Choosing from a populated table. Nope. It's probably one of these, and I'm probably just not reading very well because I'm on stream and I have a hard time focusing when I do that. So yes, and it's a yes and, Ryan. So there's subfactories. So we have I guess what I'm trying to say is like, here you have a subfactory, right? And let's say I want to have the email address for this thing be the same email address as what the user factory generated. Or if I pass in a user on factory creation, I would like to use the same email address, because we know in at least how all auth is working is that it would wire those two things up so they'd be the same. And so there's some way to reference, like, you're getting one of your fields will be like delayed in evaluation, so that it would be like email factory something, and this is the thing that I don't know, and you'd give it a lambda that would take like a user, and you'd say user.email. So it's based off of that. But the problem is I can't remember what that something is. That's what I'm looking for. And the thing that we could do is say, you know what, it doesn't matter. Is it lazy attribute? Is that it? If the value of a field of a child on the child factory is indirectly derived from a field on the parent factory. Oh, that's a parent factory thing. But I think lazy attribute might be the thing. But I need some other examples. Lazy attribute. Okay, let's go find the official docs for lazy attribute. That's sounding like it. Simple yet extremely powerful building block for extending. Takes as argument a method to call, usually lambda, that should accept the object being built as a sole argument and return a value. But how can I have confidence? Not an instance of the target class, but instead a resolver. Okay, I just don't care. It's not that important. I'm going to steal this line from here and just call it done. Okay. So now if we use the email address factory, we should be generating email addresses in the verified state that have what we need. So we want to do here, I think, to get the test to pass, send an email. That user, yeah, I think this is where we want to go. Email address factory. We pass in user equal user. Okay. Right, test. Probably it. Message indicates that no available entries. If I need to ensure, I'm looking at your message there. Same factory. Okay. All right. Cool. I'll keep that in mind in the future if I need it. Let's see. Then we've got this one that is item potent. Okay. I think that's enough to make me happy with the situation. So now we have a little bit better account admin. Let's put a doc string on the manager. Model, it's in the models file. So get all the accounts that can receive prompts. Yeah. And prompts just mean prompt emails in my system, but that's known to me, so that will continue to mean something useful to me. Let's test that we have full coverage here. We do. All right, so I think what I want to do, let's review the diff. Let's push, let's deploy to Heroku. And then I want to go ahead and, well, do I need to run the job? I would like to have the confidence that it actually ran successfully. And then we'll do the Sentry bit and wrap up for the evening. So we've got this new query set method to get the actual promptable stuff. We have updated our tests and we've updated the job so that it gets the things that are meant to be prompted. Oh, I'm remembering what I forgot. We need to update the template. There's a template that we need to tell people of, like, unless you do this, you're not going to get the emails. I think it's this one. Oh, I already tell them that. Begin your journaling journey. You need to verify your email address. I'll just be more explicit. Email confirmation sign up message. Ew, this page is not. Is this an email? Hold on. Well, that's an email template. So that's the thing that we send. There's like isn't there another thing after sign up? Okay, hold on. Sign up. Where are we sending them? Oh, no wonder they don't know. Jeez. Okay. Cool. Let's try a sign up. Let's see what it looks like. I do at least want to tell them in the email as well. But if they're already there, no, if they're already there and checking it, I don't know that that matters. What's more important is telling them in the user interface after they've clicked that sign up page, what do they need to do next? And that we're not going to send you an email until you've done that. And it could be that we just didn't customize that template at all, or it's going to a page that I didn't expect. Not sure what's going on there. Let's go create a couple of accounts and see what happens. So we want to do a sign up, and this will be testing 42 at somewhere.com, and we'll put in our witty pero password that I've got. Oh yeah, this is a default template. Okay. We need to find the confirm email template. I knew we were cutting corners when we did plenty of these templates, and that is a garbage experience to receive. So let's go look at all auth, find the template that we need. So all auth in here, templates, account, and it's going to be one of these. Probably this one. Is that the one? We have sent an email to you for verification. Sounds right. We have sent an email to you for verification. Okay. So we need to override verified email required. Let's steal this one because there's not a lot here. Ooh, this one does not use waffle. Sign up does. Right? Yeah, flag. We can get rid of that. Steal that. And save it. And then go up. And we want verified email required. Verified email required. HTML. Paste this. And for the moment, I just want to see if it's actually working. If I can go back to that other page. And hopefully I can refresh this. That didn't work. Did I name it wrong? Or do I need to restart? I might need to restart for this one to actually let it pick up this other template. What? Verify your email address. Maybe it's the other one. Verify your email address. Verification sent. Okay, maybe it's this other one. So let's try that. So this will be verification required. That's what this template is. I want to be able to distinguish these. And verification sent. If it's the sent one, I don't know when the required one is necessary. And I would just not worry about that. Okay, so it's sent. I guess I could have confirmed this over here. I probably have verification. Yeah, all right. Would have saved myself some time if I actually looked at homeschool, but whatever. Actually. So I followed. Okay. Maybe this is not bad to try to repeat some of this. We're going to steal the title Have that be the same. Verify. So I guess we're improving the product too, just in the sign up experience, which was pretty poor. Your email address, that'll be the title. And then this is the content block. Really not have any kind of div around it? No. All right. Must be surrounded in div already. Let's delete this one. We're not going to use it right now until I figure out what it is. And let's come over to the one that we have for homeschool. A bunch of this is probably not going to be what we want, but that's okay. Paste that here. It'll give us a starting point to customize. Whoa. Must have some static. Okay. I don't have any static content in here, so... Oh, I remember that page. Yeah, that one's actually kind of nice. There's an SVG that shows like a big email icon. Okay. Homeschool is cooler than Journey Inbox for now. All right. So the messaging there's kind of cool. I don't really care about having this all wrapped, and I want to have a style that's consistent. Right now that style is basically nothing, so I'm going to take off that stuff. It's going to move it over. That's not good. No. Let's do a side-by-side with the sign-up page. No? Not the sign. Okay. One of these will look good, or look okay. Max width XL. Max width XL. Okay, we'll keep that. But we don't want the MX auto. We're not centering this stuff right now. And then we'll delete all the stuff after here. We'll just do that. Okay, then we can come over here. Don't know that do I have a header anywhere? No. I have no headers so far. Now there's one. Okay. Please check your email. It's going to use our lime green, which is hard. I can't really see. My flux is all yellow on me right now, so can't tell what this looks like. So I'm going to turn this off for a second. Okay, and then our text is not doing anything, so that's good. And then we've got, earlier we did the gray. Did we do 600 or 700? Because I just did this on that unauthenticated page, right? Yeah, we said 600. So that's okay. That's consistent. Let's check on what we need to change. If you can't find the confirmation email after a few minutes, be sure to check your spam folder, as some email clients will mark it. Okay, that's good. That's a good message. And then I've got, I'm not saying, I'll be consistent with the way I'm identifying myself here. That'll be Journey Inbox Creator. All right, getting closer. We sent you an email so that we can confirm your address to complete your sign up. Please follow the link in your email. And then this is the part we want to change because it's not about School Desk. So let's change this. Journey Inbox will not send daily prompts until you verify your address. Okay. This is probably this probably explains quite a bit, in fact, about why I had so few users actually complete the verification process. So having this message now gives some sanity of why do you need to do this? And you're not going to get to try the product until you verify your stuff. All right, so I'm going to turn Flux back on because this white is radiating my face. I probably need a dark mode. I'm going to win over the hearts and minds of developers. I need a dark mode, right? Put that for later. Do I already have it? Dark. Nope. Okay. Dark mode theme. That would be cool. Okay. Then we're going back to here. And we've updated our job to check for verified emails. And we have now created the verification page. It's not an updated verification page. So that now exists. And I think that we're done. Yeah. Seems pretty complete to me. Let's scan through this, make sure that I'm on target. So no. What? Couldn't move past the Stripe paywall. That's interesting. Tell me more, Ryan. I thought we tested all that stuff out. The sign-up process should not block you from that. So the flow right now is this is where it's kind of, the experience is not great, is that you don't get a real clear point of view on what happens after you're done. So it's basically supposed to be, you sign up and you should, after you verify, be dumped back into the dashboard or something like that. And actually, John, who maybe is not here today, but John Samuda is someone who's been on the stream a bunch of times, reported he signed up and went through this process and reported that the experience wasn't great. So maybe this reflects what you were experiencing, Ryan, in which case I've got some work to do to clean that up. So I'll give you a second to read through that while I answer Kai's question here. Kai, and I apologize, Kai, if I'm just totally mispronouncing your name. SaaS by using Django framework. How about scalable in the future? Django can be used by gigantic companies. So here are a couple that you may, well, here's at least one that you know of, most likely, Instagram. Instagram is powered by some amount of Django. I believe it's still in that company. I think they might be trying to move off of it, but they were able to get to massive scale using Django. So that's one. Eventbrite is another company that I'm pretty sure makes heavy use of Django. So that's another. So to answer your question, Kai, I think hopefully that gives you some evidence that yes, Django can scale for huge businesses. I would not, if you're afraid of it not scaling for your usage, I don't think you have to be. I think it will work for a lot. And if you, the bigger problem with most of these things is getting traffic to begin with. So you're hit with a, can you, Ryan, would you mind saying more on hit with a Stripe paywall? What is that? I think I'm not really clear on what that means. Maybe I can attempt, I might try and, maybe we'll do another sign up here on stream and see if I'm, I will have to, how am I going to do that? I would have to use a dummy email account. I can do that though with my Google stuff. So let me deploy some things. Let's let's do two things. Let's do the deployment, get the existing trials kind of flushed out, and And hopefully, I feel bad for those folks if they were stuck. That's unfortunate. Maybe I'll reset their trial dates if it turns out to be a big problem. Yeah, and then let's do the Sentry thing, because I really do want to have like a clear performance view and not have my performance data just completely gooped up with all of those PHP requests that are never going to work. And then we'll try, the way we'll end the stream is we'll try and do a sign up, and I'll see if I can replicate what Ryan is talking about. Yeah. So that's bad messaging on my part, Ryan. You are in an active trial right now. I could go to my admin and confirm that. And the activate your account is like, I'm done with my trial and now I'm ready to pay. Okay. So thank you for that clarification. So you shouldn't be, it's working, but perhaps very poorly worded and very confusing to people that just signed up. So I will, the final thing that we can do is go clean up that copy to make sure it's clear of, hey, this button is for when you're ready to go from trialing to actually using the service. So sorry about that. Did it stop you from verifying your email address? Like, there was any trouble? Were you able to do that process? I think that's my real question for you. Let's take a look at, let's add all this to our Git stage first though, and see that this is all done, and then we'll move it up and deploy and get some stuff cleared out there. So we've got our admin updated, we've got the promptable manager method, we now have our new factory, we've changed it so that only people that have verified their account should actually get that stuff. We've updated the test to make use of that factory. We got rid of unnecessary waffle tags import. And then we've added our new verification sent email to tell people, hey, here's what you need to do in order to actually get going. So I think that's good. So we'll do a commit on this. And what we're going to say is only send email prompts to accounts that have a verified email. And that should fix whatever that number was, which I lost. 81. Fixes number 81. I probably should test this one last time before pushing up, in case I did something stupid. Oh good, you successfully verified. Yeah, if you're still, and was this today? Was this just now, or were you did you do this a couple days ago and you're not getting prompts? That's another thing I did check the admin. I try and respect everyone's privacy as much as possible. So I have a page that actually shows entries, but all it shows is like the username. It doesn't actually show me any content, but it shows like dates submitted. And I'm looking, I do this on production. I'm checking because I'm still, I don't know, there's something about my brain that's like still a little paranoid that is like, are my journal entries getting there? And I can say with confidence they are. They're getting there and recorded in the database within, I don't know, 10 seconds of me hitting the send button on my Gmail account. And I've been checking like, hey, has anybody else actually tried to submit a journal entry? I've only seen a couple. So I do know that I do have evidence that it works for other people, but I haven't seen a lot of evidence. So that could just be that people are maybe only testing the service and then going away, which is fine. But if there's a problem there, I want to make sure that that gets rectified. All right, let's push this up. And before I can actually deploy to Heroku, I'm going to have to sign in almost certainly. So I'm going to switch to secrets mode here. And what I'm doing right now is typing Heroku login. And that's going to send me to my browser, no doubt. I have to log in here. I'm clicking the login button. I need to unlock one password, do some stuff here to do that unlock. And okay, Ryan, I'm curious, have you been getting prompt emails? Have those been showing up? Are they maybe in your spam, or not getting them at all? Because if you're not getting them at all, that's not good. I did look and see Right. I tried to check on SendGrid, make sure that deliverability was up, and I did see evidence that the emails were being sent, but maybe you haven't been seeing them, which would not be cool, and on some level would not be totally surprising either, because I'm a new if Journey Inbox is a new service, there may be a reputation issue here, where it can't actually, or is not actually showing up immediately right into people's stuff. Okay, so I'm now logged in to Heroku. I cleared my screen so you don't see my email address, although that's all over the place if you look hard enough. And we're going to do a make deploy, which is just going to do a git push Heroku main. As you can see, that's all my make target secretly does under the covers. There's no mystery there. And this will push up some new code. Once we do this, what I'm going to do is go actually log into Heroku, bring up a worker doing Heroku run bash, and then I'm going to run the daily job manually. Oh shoot, can I run an individual job? Because I don't want to run all the jobs. I want to do, oh good, you're getting the prompts, that's good. Yeah, and the other thing about this is the trials. My other fear about this is that people will trial and they have not verified. Okay. And for people who have not verified, I don't want them to start putting my emails in spam and hurting reputation there. Okay, definitely need to update that messaging, Ryan. You're right. That's awful. If you thought you couldn't submit because you thought it wasn't going to go anywhere, I can understand a total hesitation to do that. That's not good. Okay, so we've got a deploy. We've got Heroku needs to be upgraded. So let's switch to, let's do this right now. 3.11.8. Let's do that. Upgrade Python for Heroku. We'll deploy again really quickly. No, you are not supposed to see a dashboard. There is no dashboard. So I guess you are seeing the dashboard, but it doesn't tell you anything. Right now, the app is purely the email experience only. So if you start replying to those and writing some entries, then your next prompt or the future prompts will have that as a pool of your past entries to start pulling from and giving you like, hey, this is what you wrote on last Friday or whatever. In the future, your dashboard should tell you what entries you've written and be able to let you navigate between like, hey, here's what I wrote on Monday, here's what I wrote on Wednesday, right? So you can get that experience there. But we don't have any of that stuff yet. So I'm super minimal on the launch. And clearly, if you weren't on stream, which is no fault of yours, I don't expect everyone to attend all the time. It's hard to know what this is actually capable of doing. So yeah, that's the story right now. Very bare bones. And I'll push that up to GitHub too. So now we have our stuff launched. We're not seeing any warnings because we filtered all those out. That's good. Anything that was still complaining. We should upgrade to Python 3.12 at some point. There's going to be some speed upgrades that we'll get for free doing that. Let's do Heroku. Oh, this one might, can't remember. Hold on one second. Can't remember. This is like, hey, you're logged in as, and then drops my email address right for everybody to see. So I'm on secrets for just a minute, logging in. Okay, it's fine. Must have been. I think it was the Heroku logs. When you bring up the Heroku logs, it's saying doing a deploy on behalf of whatever. Okay, so we have our manage, and we're gonna do. We want to just run one job. This is different. We don't want to run all the jobs. So there is you can see that there's a run job command and there's a run jobs command. So let's do this. Let's do run jobs minus H. Nope, that's the help minus list. And because this tells you the type that you want to run. So when on the Heroku scheduler, what I have is it will say manage.py run jobs daily. And that's how it will run the jobs that we care about. And here we've got the expired trials is one of our daily jobs. What I want to do instead is I want to look at run job and check out its help. And hopefully it will specify the job name. So the app name, okay, we have to do app name and then job name. So we should be able to do manage.py and run job. And then the first positional argument is journal.accounts. That's the app name. And the second one is expire trials. Ooh, did I hold on before I don't want to I really, it's one thing if I if I share some keys and need to rotate stuff, but I really don't want to accidentally show customer stuff. That is not what I'm about. So let's make sure very carefully. Okay, it's just numbers. So we'll see. I expect that so this has been a couple weeks. I don't expect that all 20 of them will be filled. So we should have some number greater than 0, but less than 20. Ooh, interesting. Expired 0 trials. Okay. I didn't see that coming. This is going to be... All right, so I'm going to give myself homework because I don't want to do this part on stream. It would require me going to the admin. So I'm going to come in here and say, verify that trial expiration is working. On stream, I ran this manually and expected to see some expirations. Oh, you know what? I shouldn't have expected that because I literally streamed 2 weeks ago. So the earliest you could have signed up was 2 weeks ago. And some people may have. So it's 2 weeks plus a couple days of grace. So that would be 16 days. So it's not possible. But I still want to verify this. So I'm pretty confident in that logic, but I want to get some numbers on this. So let's just make a note of that. There weren't any. This is actually not a surprise because the site went live 2 weeks ago and there is 2 days of grace. So nothing should be expired. Collect evidence that trial expiration is working in production. Okay. Let's do the Sentry bit. Let's go update the copy on the dashboard to make that make sense of why you'd see the activate button, what that's for. Or you know what, maybe we can the activate button is probably an easier one to knock out. That's gonna be a paragraph. Let's go to the index page. So, and here's your evidence, Ryan. So you only see that button if you're in the trialing status, but I don't tell you anything about that. That was what a stupid oversight for me. So we'll say, what will we say? Let's fire this up. Let's look at a page. Let's go to the site. So even my my main account is just listed as it's exempt, so it's showing behaving like as a trial, but this is not what somebody who's actually active would see. And then we want to go to here, and we want. Can I just move this button inside of here? That would probably be better. Ooh, okay. Good thing we check stuff. So we want class MB4, I guess. Give it the same spacing it had before. And then we want another paragraph that if you're trialing, we want a paragraph, and we want to give it a class that, again, has spacing, some amount of spacing between that and the button. Your account is currently trialing. To continue using Journey Inbox beyond your trial, please activate your account. How's that, Ryan? Does that make sense? Or should I say more? I want to give this a lot more space. Now that I have a different paragraph here, I want to separate these things. Not, again, this isn't super pretty, but it is effective on the messaging. And then this is all like kind of temporary user interface stuff until we get a more permanent dashboard in place. If I remember, and if I have time, maybe we'll keep going. I don't know. Not sure how long I'll go tonight. The feedback from John was, well, let me read this. So he signed up. He activated through the emailed link. So this tells me this is the verified. And then he went to the, so this is what happened when you actually go through the Stripe flow. So John did actually complete the Stripe process. Thank you, John. And this was his report after completing that. It sent him to the success page. And manually entering the URL seems to send me the login page. Maybe he wasn't logged on. Okay. Yeah, we'll play around more with that in the future. That one's gonna be annoying to. We're gonna have to synthesize this in some ways. I think we can. Yeah, we can. We'll save that one for a different day. Is there? Oh, did it not look? Yeah, it probably looked bad. Oh, I've got the. Bill, I didn't need I don't think I need a paragraph, a break tag between these because I have. I'm closing the paragraph tag and putting some margin here, so that's what I'm doing. So I think these are kind of logically clustered together in the way that I would desire. Maybe I give it a little bit more breathing room with a 4 because that's the space that was there. Yeah, okay, that breathes a little better. All right, I appreciate the call out there, Ryan. That was a stupid oversight on my part, like not telling people anything. That's why you get user feedback. It's a good thing, and y'all are great. Appreciate the live user feedback. Okay, so we'll commit this quickly. We'll do add clarity on why someone should click the button. Okay. Cool. I'll push that up in a bit. Let's look at Sentry. So Sentry's kind of cool. I've got a Sentry app, and I think I've already hooked this up. So this might actually be a dirt simple change to make. And I did some changes recently on Homeschool, so let's compare it to Homeschool as well, just to make sure that I'm getting the right thing. Okay, yeah. In the Homeschool application, I've got some generated documentation, which are static HTML files. And I don't care about their performance. It's fast enough. It's serving HTML. It's about as fast as it's going to be at least from a Python web server. So I added this ignore, basically. And so the way this works is if you look at it, what we have to do is we initialize the Sentry SDK. And we have to give it our DSN. The only reason this is not technically a secret value, but I put it as a setting because in the past on the Homeschool app, I just hard-coded this value, and then somebody cloned my repository, went through all the setup steps, and then ran it locally and had an error that they experienced, and it showed up in my real Sentry. So it's like, oh, shoot, I shouldn't include that there. So I include a fake one for other testing purposes. Anyway, that's why that's there. And so you have to tell it this is using Django. That's cool. And by sending the send default PII to true, that's how I get the email address over on the Sentry side. So I can do some correlation. So I can see if there's an exception that happens, I know what user it was attached to. So then we've got this traces samplers, the really interesting bit that we're actually wanting to cover here. So the traces sampler, what it does is normally it says, so this, I think what happens is this chunk fires in the middleware for every request that's made. And it provides this sampling context. And it's essentially a hook point that allows you to decide, do I want to trace this data or not? And so you can control this. It's on a 0 to 1 floating point scale. And so if you wanted to collect, you were getting a lot of traffic and you only cared about maybe 10% of it, instead of setting to 1.0 here, you'd set it to 0.1. So it's meant to be a proportional scale. But if you want to ignore certain paths, you can do some conditional logic here. And what this is currently saying is, I don't care about the root. I just don't need to measure that. And so I'm just going to not bother. So here is I want to add extra stuff that gets rid of all the PHP stuff. And so the path should have, I believe, everything, like including admin.php. So I want to do or path ends with, so just standard, well, let me verify. So if we have path is equal to /admin php and close that off, and then we do path ends with .php. This should evaluate to true, and it does. So that's what we want to check here, that this is .php. All right, been so focused on talking about the Sentry stuff, I didn't look at the comments. Sorry, y'all. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Add a video. I could totally add a video recording just right there. Here's a YouTube link. Yeah, appreciate that suggestion, Ryan. That's a good one. I'll find some time to do that and then drop it somewhere. So we've got now this path ends with PHP. So let's go to Sentry and see if there's any other patterns that we should be filtering out. I think that's probably enough. Like if we're looking at this is legit, signup's legit, the webhook's legit, the favicons legit. There's, thankfully that was it was showing my old admin route URL, so I'm not too worried about what you all just saw there. Anyway, there's other, and now I'm worried about scrolling down any further. Hold on, let me look through this list and see if there's other stuff I should be worried about showing off. Yeah, I think we're good. And that should be the old one. Ah, if not, all right, it's on me. I'll just I'll just rotate more keys. Why not? Oh gosh. This is what I'm calling out. There's a UUID that I'm using to make sure that my admin stays kind of secret, but it's not so secret when you can see it on my transaction list. So anyway, we've got legit stuff here, here, and here. Those are not PHP. The admin images are resolving to a star, so that's probably okay. So we're knocking out the PHP stuff. I don't mind seeing CSS files show up here. That's fine. Moon? That's interesting. There must be some really vulnerable stuff out there. So what I'm looking for right now is other error patterns that do not include PHP. But I'm thinking I'm going to get the lion's share just by doing this ends with PHP thing. That's incredible. Oh, there's one. PHP 7. Okay. Okay. So let's do one more. Or path ends with .php 7. That's stupid. Okay. That's probably good enough. And I have a feeling that just doing this will cut down my performance usage immensely. Like, I mean, this was awful. I must have gotten hit by some kind of, definitely got hit by some kind of script kiddie at some point. Like I think on Sunday, it was Sunday. Sunday, I was at, Stripe will send you a warning when you're at 80% of your performance quota. And so that morning, I got, you're at 80%. Like, all right, it's, mid-month. That's earlier than I expected, but whatever. By Sunday evening, I was getting another message that's saying, you're at 100% of your quota. It's like, well, okay. So I'm not going to get any other useful performance data out of Sentry this month, but that's fine. So we've got those two things. Let's run through the test before we deploy anything. Just make sure that, because I have stuff that will run the middleware, although maybe Stripe's not included, but I think everything is syntactically there. I've got my local LSP would have, if I did this. Ooh, it's not complaining. Whoa, where's my LSP? That's scary. Come on, Python, you're failing. I guess it doesn't know. All right, can I type this? String? It's a string. Okay. Now it knows. It didn't have enough type information. Cool. And then I'm gonna, before I forget Ryan's suggestion, I like that one. Let's do this. Let's do create YouTube videos to embed into, I guess, maybe the index page. Well, let's start with the unauthenticated index page. That'd be a good start. What Journey Inbox is. That would be cool. Okay. Let's call that one done. That might be a great point to wrap up. We've hit the highlights of what I wanted to hit this evening. Let's see. Help filter out noise on Sentry performance page. Before we end, let's figure out what we want to do next time. Because I've got a couple weeks actually where I'll be able to actually continue streaming. My schedule's getting more interrupted this year because there are more meetups in my town that I go to that have been happening on Friday nights, but I've got a free slot for a couple weeks. So we can get a string of these in here. So we're going to, that fixes 77. I'm going to push that up. Hey, John, welcome. we have done a handful of things. Improving. Ryan's given a lot of good feedback this evening, helping improve the site, how things working. We haven't gotten to your issue, John, yet about the sign-up experience. And I don't know how much longer I want to go. So I wanted to figure out what we can do in the future, what we should prioritize on. I think we're still probably safe to do this. Hanshi, thanks for the subscribe. Appreciate that. I'm looking through this list and trying to decide what's going to be most useful. I have a couple things that selfishly I want, but they're not most useful for customers. Namely, import functionality. Like I'm still the other service that I'm using, even though I've been using Journey Inbox now for, I think I have over 100 entries with Journey Inbox, so over a quarter, which is pretty cool. I still have like 10 years worth of backlog stuff that I want to be able to import, and I haven't been able to do that because I am committed to writing all this code on stream, and it just hasn't been top priority. What I should probably do, that other service will actually dump out a JSON that includes the body, so the content, just like the entry. And I actually even tried to model my stuff that would match up in similar ways. So if we look at the entry models, I named it after the ways that they named it, because why not? So it includes body and it includes when in the JSON payload. So I do want to, at some point, have an import endpoint that you can drop in a JSON file and drop in your entries. There's some finickiness about that of, I need to decide how many entries do I want to allow, and the size of those entries. Like there are some size considerations with the database, and I don't want to give somebody just free reign to drop in, oh, here's a million journal entries and all of that. That would be dumb. But that's still not a priority. I think where we need to go, so I can export from the other service. And so what I could do is I could take, I'm hesitant to close my account over there, and this is stupid, it's just bytes, until I have confidence that I've imported into a different database. But I could conceivably get my export out of that other service, store it, do a backup somewhere, because it's 10 years of my journal. I don't want to lose that, and it's important for me to maintain that. And then when I'm ready to come back around to the import thing, that I've got it and can turn off my other access. It's not a very expensive service, just like Journey Inbox is not a very expensive service, so I'm not too worried about it. Okay, I think though, so where we're going to go, and I'm going to continue to set these as me as the assignee in order to do this. This one's going to be easy, so we should just do it. That's setting the index. We could probably do that tonight. It's super easy. Jeffrey, this is a journaling app, and it's a journaling app in that the primary interface is not the web. The primary interface is your email client. That's why it's called Journey Inbox. And the journey is the ideal journey of your life, right? And so it's a journaling service that's delivered via email. And so you could, you get a daily prompt, and you respond to that prompt. That, like, here's how my Wednesday went. And there are hooks on the other side that take what you wrote in that reply, and they stuff that into the database. The hook, the part that makes journaling continue to be interesting for me, as someone who's used a service like this for many years, is that every time you get a prompt, that daily prompt, you get a random entry from your database of stuff dumped right back into on what you see in your prompt, which is really cool. It's a cool experience to be like, oh yeah, this is what I was doing 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and naturally, the more you and the longer you continue to use a service like this, the more depth that you can have out of that process. So I've really enjoyed it from that point of view. Yeah, personal journaling. That's a good idea, John. We should category filtering. Not sure how that would work. It's different than a blog in the sense that it's totally private to you. This is not something you can turn around and share with the world. It's not intended to be that. I want to write down John's idea if I don't already have it. We wrote down some stuff early on, but I can't remember what they were, John. I had like 2FA and stuff like that. Okay, let's write down your thoughts. And John, if you have further comments, feel free to add to the issue, of course. I'm just going to say category filtering. How would this work? Would this happen in email? Like, there's a future here that where we could start getting into like parsing. And so, maybe you say category traveling, comma, Bermuda. Something like that. I don't know. I'll put this here. Like this. Oh, subject filter. Okay. Yeah, whatever ideas you have, let me know. We'll see how that goes. Jeffrey, this is not DRF. This is all just server rendered Django pages. I don't have an API in mind. Maybe someday. That'd be kind of cool if you could access your data and do cool stuff with it. I've been thinking about, pie as the sky kind of ideas. There's lots of stuff that we could do in the sense of, hey, this is your data and it's yours, and we want to be really careful with, like, it's up to you to do stuff with it. But there are things that would be potentially interesting, like I think it's very possible with natural language processing to do sentiment analysis. Say, like, what was your mood like on this particular day? Yeah, it is all email based, so the data does flow. So it's email based as your interaction back and forth with it, but there is also a user interface that you can, like, that's how you do your sign up stuff. So if you go to, I can show you. If you go right now to journeyinbox.com, you'll see here's like the brief of what this is. And so there's a very limited amount of flow right now. This is one of the things that we fixed. So probably in the next couple days, sign up will begin to open up again as some of the original trials begin to expire. That was one of the things that I fixed tonight. But it gives you these prompts that are daily, and you respond. That's pretty much it. But there's a lot of possibility that we can do that will be fun and exciting. And my wife actually made a suggestion of, like, well, can you give me a way to sign up for when sign up is open? And I was like, well, maybe. I don't know. I don't know when the priority of that would be. So yeah, check back in periodically, and there should be some sign up slots that are open. And what else might be interesting is how many people are trying. I don't know. There could be some kind of fun stats here of, hey, 20 people are trialing. The next trial should be available around XYZ date or something like that. I don't know. I don't know if that's all that stuff is worth it. It might just be overkill. Okay, so let's get back to focus on what's next. So I need a DB index on the entry table, especially before it gets too big, and that causes some downtime. So that would be good to add. Again, we might be able to knock that out in 5 minutes, so we'll think about that for a moment. I do think we should set up Dependabot. So I need to get updates happening because I care about y'all. I care about my own security. This is my ultimately, and I've been thinking about, like, the privacy policy of this page. In fact, full of ideas. So if you click here, no, you can't see it. There's a privacy policy, and I believe it's at /privacy, but we need probably a footer. Yeah, there's probably some rough updates. Although I do have I set up pre-commit CI for this, so I do get the pre-commit stuff. So here's the privacy page, which will be linked to on the security page, and this is like the legal language that I have to include. Yeah, my wife is correct. So I have to include the stuff to cover my own butt, just legally. But I want to put an editorial block at the top above this, like between privacy policy and maybe last updated, that says, hey, here's why I care about privacy, because I've got 10 years of my own life's journey in here, and I want that to be safe and secure. And so I care about privacy probably more than any customer could because of how much data is in there. I think personalizing that, if for folks that are really privacy conscious, if they see that as like, oh, this guy cares because he's using it himself, I feel like that would be a confidence booster. So let's record some of these things, because why not? They're fun ideas. So we'll start with collect email address if sign up is closed. That would be a good one. And then I just said personalize. That'll sound kind of weird. Personalize the privacy policy page. Lots of alliteration. Love it. So those are two little things we could do. Oh, that'd be an easy one to knock out. There was I needed to check. I needed some way, or I need, the need has not gone away, to know that prompts are going out. And I checked this with SendGrid, but it'd be nice to have evidence that I can see of, hey, I've sent out X many prompts over the last day. They all were handled, all that stuff, all that good stuff. So we'll set up Dependabot. We'll do the DB stuff. And, ooh, oh, right. The current inbound receiver. Yeah, that's not good. We should prioritize this one, because this is a data integrity one. Yeah, this was, yep, I forgot. Man, past me had some good ideas. So let's look at the hook. So there's, where did I put it? Should be in the entries, receivers. So we receive messages from SendGrid. That's the way this works. We parse out the data and get some stuff out of it. I'm not going to go into all this. We spent quite a bit of time on this. And we look up these accounts, and then we create an entry here. And the problem is, I need to do 2 more hours. I don't have 2 more hours in me, that's for sure. The problem is here. And so please don't, or it's going to cause some confusion. If you sign up, try not to reply more than once. But the real problem is that SendGrid does not promise that they're only going to deliver something once. So really, I wouldn't know if it was John replied to one of his emails twice, or if it was SendGrid sent it twice. So what we need to do here is like a get or create, and I can't remember the right formulation. Some kind of, essentially the idea of an upsert, of you either create the record if it doesn't exist, or you update it if it does. That's really what we need to do, so that it will help make this this process be more idempotent on the handling side. So that one's important. I'm going to assign myself to that. So I think that gives us another 3 items to go on, right? And all right, let's see how I'm going to cap it, y'all. I'm going to go 20 more minutes. If we can get all 3 of these done, that'd be great. If not, we don't, that's fine. So first one, DB index. This one should be super easy. So we want entry models And the thing that we need is we need these. What's going to happen is like if I imported my data right now and we're picking a random entry in the sending process and I've got hundreds of entries in there, then it's going to do a full table scan on all of the when. Thankfully, the foreign key will help filter that down significantly. So it's really only on my subset of data, but I just don't want to deal with this, and I want this to be sufficiently fast when we do queries. This will also be important in the future because the dashboard stuff that I'm planning to do is going to be date-based. And so if you want to be able to jump around different months and stuff, I just want to make that super easy and fast. So in order to get that, we do db, should be able to just do db index equal true to add a db index. Think. So then let's do, so there's a two-step process when you modify models. One is actually making the model modification, and then the other is running the migrations command. So that's make migrations, and it creates a new migration. I generally like to test these migrations, but I test them by, there's a couple of ways to test them. Let me show off at least one. If you are using the same database locally as the one you run in production, this is more meaningful. But one of the commands that comes with Django is this one, SQL migrate. SQL migrate tells you what your migration is actually going to execute to the database. So what happens with Django is the migration files are raw Python. We can actually go look at this new one. So we're in the entries app. We'll go into journal, entries, migrations, and we've got this new migrations file. And you can see this is just a Python class, right? It's a subclass of this migration thing. It's specifying some class attributes here. And you don't necessarily know what this is going to do. The migrations system will take this information and turn it into actual data definition language, DDL. And that's essentially anytime you want to do table creation or modification to the actual schema of your database when DDL statements get executed. The query language, SQL, is like your select statements and your inserts and stuff, but the schema modification stuff is called DDL. So what you can see if you run SQL migrate and you pass in the name of the file, or I wonder, can we just do entries and then a number? Yeah. So it figures out it's migration number 3. It's in the entries app, and it can figure out what it would run. Now, the problem is I'm running SQLite locally, so that these SQL statements that you're seeing are corresponding to what it would do for a SQLite database, which is not what I run in production. So it's not super useful here, and it's actually kind of scary if you think about it, because from the way this is described, it's like creating a new table, copying over, dropping a table. That's fast in SQLite. This would not be a great idea for Postgres. So you can't really trust that completely. But that's one way that you could do this if you're running Postgres. So you can switch the engine and see that. But what I'm going to do is just run migrate and actually run it on the SQLite database and see that it runs. And there's such a small amount of data that it's going to run really quickly. So we can commit these files, and we'll do add a database db index to entry when. And this should make those filtering statements go a lot faster in the future. If rather than doing full scans through every record, it should have an index, which is a binary, allows for binary searching on this stuff. So that should fix number 64. One down. 5 minutes with an explanation. Hey, that's not bad. All right, let's nope. Let's just go ahead and deploy it. We know that this stay up to date. While that's deploying, we can go over to our pull request. There's a pre-commit. So this is what I'm getting from pre-commit CI. It's managing my pre-commit file, and so it's automatically doing the rough upgrades that we need. It must have found a change. It did. So pre-commit ran, and it went ahead and made this change as well. So there must have been a small change to the handling for spaces between doc strings and imports. That's what I'm guessing here. So after, well, I'll let this, I just pushed up, I'm pretty sure. And we're waiting for, so it's running as a release command. There's the migration. And already done. Now, the challenge, the reason why I want to do this database index stuff now is that the longer you wait on a database index, especially if tables get full, then you can potentially lock database tables and you can cause like downtime events. And we could talk in the future about zero downtime migrations, but they're a very complex process that require you to do a bunch of finicky stuff. And the longer you can avoid zero downtime migrations, the better. Trust me, they're a pain. They are what you need when you promise to be like 24/7 for a business, which, you know, I wish you all the most success that you would be in that position to have a 24/7 operation. But that's certainly not my state for now. Okay, so we're going to merge this to get the latest pre-commit. We'll pull it down. So we're now updated on pre-commit. Let's go back to our list of issues. Let's filter again to what I picked for myself. Let's set up Dependabot. That should be one that we could do. And I think what I'm going to do is a little different from homeschool. Because I'm doing this regularly, I'm probably going to set this up to run. Well, I can leave it for daily. Why not? I don't think that'll break anything. Okay, so we need to go to have a Dependabot config file. So here's my Dependabot configuration file for homeschool. So we're going to have something similar, and we're going to put it in the same location. That's important. Although I think GitHub respecs a couple of locations, but I already have a GitHub directory. We'll go to GitHub and go up a couple levels, and we'll put it next to here. And it needs to be named a certain way, which is dependabot.yml, no A. I hate that about YAML, that they have two different main extension names. Our requirements file is in the root directory, which is why we're passing in root. And I have this configuration to set to 20 for homeschool because I've got it set to monthly. So I was running into situations where I wasn't getting all, like, I initially had it set to 5 and I set it to monthly, and something had changed about Dependabot where it wouldn't keep that up to 5 on that same day. Because it used to be the behavior was on the day of that month where you had the updates, like if you had more to do, and every time you'd merge, you'd get a new one that popped up as long as it stayed at that limit. But I think at some point they stopped doing that. So now I've set the limit super high to be 20, and that just gets annoying because there's a bunch of conflicts. So I don't really want to do this. I want to take this off. And we want to change this to, I'm pretty sure the value is daily. So Dependabot config. Let's go find that. And we're at the YAML file, schedule interval. Daily. Yeah. Okay. Just want to sanity check. Daily. And I don't think we're not using any of these tools. So let's get rid of this whole ignore section. Okay. I think that's it. Yeah. So we're gonna commit this. I'm really curious if this will immediately start generating Dependabot PRs for us. It's going to slow down our flow, frankly, when we're doing streaming, because again, I'm trying to do everything on this project live, and that's going to mean package upgrades, which will be a little less exciting, but that's what you need to do. So add Dependabot support, and this should be fixes number, whatever the number is. Set up Dependabot 31. I'm super curious if this will fire right away or if this will take time. It may be like showing up tomorrow. We will find out. John, you're saying brew update. Like you do brew update on what? I'm curious, like, because that's separate from Dependabot. So I wonder what you mean there. All right. So that's that one. Just knocking them down quickly. Okay, inbound receiver needs to upsert. We're getting any pull requests? No. Okay. Maybe it'll probably show up tomorrow. I bet by next week we'll have a bunch that we need to do. And if I think, okay, we should talk about my commitment here. Jeffrey, I'm using GitHub Actions. So we've got our Actions tab here. Here you go. Here's our whole flow. Doing these steps. So there's a file you can go look at if you want to see what I'm doing specifically. It's .github.workflows and then tests. And you can see how this is set up. Pretty not complicated setup. All right, so let me chat briefly about Dependabot, because there's some aspect of this that I need to be able to like say, I will go outside of my process here. So I'm doing my best to do everything I can to do it on stream. I'm going to give an exception though. The exception might be CVEs, security stuff. CVE is the security vulnerability. What does CVE stand for? CVE. Common vulnerabilities and exposures. So these are like known security exploits that pop up in the wild, and Dependabot does a pretty good job at surfacing those if they become public. So if there's, say, a CVE that applies to the Django version that I'm on, I think what I want to do is apply that immediately. And then what I'll probably do is, if I had to do that for some reason, I'll just mention it at the next stream of, hey, look, I had to commit some code here because that was what I needed to do. Does GitHub favor using the main branch mostly? It depends on how you work with your team. Because I'm a one-man project, like the behavior that you're seeing here, where I'm like seemingly YOLOing it and just pushing up to main directly, that's because it's just me writing the code. If I was working on a team, I would almost certainly be doing pull requests and having code reviews and that kind of stuff. But and for my bigger features, which I haven't really had too many yet, I will do pull requests and that kind of stuff and review them myself. Sometimes I want to be able to do multiple checks before I commit it back to main, and using a branch is a great way to do that. All right. Well, there they are. They're coming in. All right, let's wipe some out. I don't know that I want to spend a ton of time on this, but a little bit would be good. So psychopg binary. Change log. Oh man, I'm just gonna for a lot of these it's just like a merge, especially when you have there's like judgment calls of how much time you want to spend on these things. If you have bigger releases, then I'm more concerned that I want to get them right. But I've got a test suite for a reason. This is a big why. Big part of why I try and keep 100% coverage is it means that all of my tests are going to run. Now, that doesn't guarantee that some upgrade is not going to break my stuff, but it reduces the likelihood. So that's why tests can help, especially on a small project like this. So let's merge that one. That looks good. Let's do time machine's a really easy one. And then you'll start to run into conflicts too, where they begin to stomp on each other, which is why having 20 open Dependabots is really annoying. Time machines are a testing tool, so that one's good. I am not using, well, I guess I am and I am not. I'm not of using unit test derived test case. I'm using PyTest. And then I'm using PyTest Django to be the compatibility layer between them. So there are some Django tools that are made available as PyTest fixtures, but I'm not directly using a bunch of stuff from Django. All right, so we've got that. We'll do the factory boy upgrade. Anything interesting here? Password, blah, blah, blah. Support for Django 4 stuff, okay. Mute. What'd they change about mute signals? Okay. Yeah, this looks okay. And then since this is the first time we're doing this, they might just keep popping up. It's gonna be like whack-a-mole for a little bit. So I'm not gonna do tons and tons of these. I'm just gonna do a few of them to give it a flavor. Like this is still running. This is the advantage of having a quick test run. Pre-commit CI is amazing, y'all. Like if you're using pre-commit, which I recommend you do, pre-commit CI is awesome. It's so fast, shockingly fast. All right. So this one seems like it's ready. What's in the release notes here? Revert. Revert. All right. Apparently we're reverting stuff due to bugs. I'm not using anything complicated with Django environment, so that's pretty safe. And then the other thing I'm trying to decide if I want to do on this project, which I didn't do on homeschool, is should I set up continuous deployment so that any commit to the main branch will automatically trigger a deploy? I'm less sure on that one. I haven't committed to that. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. Okay, I'm gonna do, this will be the last one, and then we'll call it done for this. Like I don't want to get, like I said, don't want to do too many of these. Hey, Nami, I'm glad you appreciated the Django Chat podcast. It's a lot of fun to talk about that stuff. This is fun too. I really like the opportunity to like interact with y'all. We're doing a little bit of Dependabot whack-a-mole, but I think that's where I'm gonna stop. That's enough. Okay, let's do the one last item on this upsert idea, and then let's call it a night. So I want to test, and like we probably even write the test that would prove that this failure is happening. So let's do that. Let's go to, I'm sure we've got test receiver somewhere. So we've got a bunch of tests in here. We've got reject bad date, reject bad account, reject non-account, reject inactive account, reject test missing message, and then we have a parse test, a couple of parse tests here. So I think what we need is probably right after this first one. Actually, this is not a rejection, it is a double persistence. So we want to be able to do all the same setup. So it's the same date, and we'll say test persists one entry. The entry is persisted one time and updated. Well, okay. So we will need, this gets annoying a little bit to get this all configured properly because there's a bunch of setup on here. Like if I just do this, we'll see a failure right away. It'll say 2. Yep. Proves that it's not right. Okay, so let's go to the receiver. And we want to switch this from entry object create to, what is it, get or create? I don't know. This is where I always get tripped up. Django project. Because there's a couple of variants now, I think. Get or create. And then there's the way that you use it trips me up as well, because you have to, some of it's keyword arguments, some of it's, I don't know, it gets me. Get or create. Is there another one? Is there an update or create? Or is it all just get or create? Is there upsert somewhere in here? Nope, doesn't mention upsert. Is there another or create? Or create. So there's the asynchronous get or create. Get or create. No, I think it's just get or create. Yeah. Oh, nope. There's an update or create. Okay. Yep, this is actually the one we want. And this would be the term, like, pretty sure the term's called upsert. Is it's update and insert. A database operation that will update an existing row if a specified value already exists in a table, and insert a new row if a specified value doesn't already exist. So the thing that we need to update on is based on the when field. Like it's going to be the two things that are going to be that will uniquely identify a particular entry is when and the user. The body is the piece of this that is allowed to change. Sure, if you want to, if you reply multiple times and you're like, oh, you know what, I hated that version of that journal entry, let me just reply again and send a different message. That's where we should accept a different body. So I think for the test, to do this right, I'd want to send like a second message. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this right. Let's do this. We'll do. We want. We want to get that the body is equal to, we'll say text updated. That's what it should be. So if we don't get this update syntax correct, then there's a chance that we don't get that body right, which is not good. And then I don't think we need to verify those because those are verified from the thing above. Oh, interesting. Why is the what? Really? Okay. Guess we don't need it. Oh, because it's encoded in the subject. That's why. Right. And this gives you time when this is when I wrote that test, I'm no doubt. Okay, so once we have this test passing, we should have confidence it's working correctly. And then we should be able to use update or create, but we got to get it right. So then it's got create. See, this is where I get confused. It's got defaults, it's got create defaults, it's got keyword arguments. So this is equivalent to this chunk of code that's here. There's the defaults, first name Bob, the create defaults, first name Bob with the birthday of this. we try and get a person whose first name is that, last name is that. Get update or create. So we want to find, okay. So I think we want to do update or create. And we want the when and the user to be the things that we're searching on. I think that's what this is saying. It's doing a get on first name and last name in this example. You can see first name and last name. We have no defaults, but we will have some create defaults. Right? Or wait, hold on. It's updating with the create defaults. And also, so if it found it, it updates whatever's in defaults. That would be the body, right? I think that's the body. I think we want to say defaults. That's going to be a dictionary. And so we want that to be body, body. Okay. So that's one thing. But we also need to do what happens on create. So create defaults are going to be the other two fields. This is the create defaults should be equal to when. Nope. We don't have. Okay, let's put that locally here. Put say when, because we're gonna have it multiple times. Might as well get it nice and short first time. And then user is the account user. Okay. I think that's right. Did that add up to folks? Oh, wait. Maybe I'm... If the person does not exist, it's going to make... Oh, okay. Maybe I don't have to do create defaults. Maybe this is... Maybe it's just defaults. Let's try it without the create defaults. I was missing this line. I think the create defaults is unnecessary. There's just like if you need extra data that can't be populated. But I think we have all the data that we need. Okay. Whoops. All right, I was close. My test was wrong because I said updated here and I said update down here. Otherwise, I think it worked. Let's just for the sanity's sake, let's make sure that that still matches up. It should, but I don't know why it wouldn't. All right. And then I'll take them back out. Why not? Okay. So we've got two stories in here. I think I want to. Normally, I try not to do this a lot. Honestly, we've got two actions in here, and that doesn't feel great. But it's necessary in order to test the idempotency of this, which is to repeat that and make sure that the outcome is like stable. So I'm going to call this like setup section, and then separate this by having two of these things. And then we can say initial creation and updated entry. So that, I think, tells the story of what happens here, and when we get the right behavior here. And I guess now that we have this, we can return. Let's do this. We can return this back to where it was because we don't need that local variable anymore. Get it nice and tight again. And run all the tests for that file. We've got all of them passing. Okay. Feels pretty good. I think we're winning here. Gosh, am I gonna have to pick another set of issues to work on next time? I didn't think those would be so easy to knock out. All right, make fast coverage on the test suite. Everything passes. Let's. Oh, I can't do this. I need to pull. Well, it's going to rebase when I pull, so it's fine. Forgot to do that pull before I did this stuff. Handling what? Handling email. Wow, I can tell my brain is toast because I can't come up with a coherent sentence. Handling email hook responses is idempotent and updates a single entry. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for joining in. So this fixes number 57. I'm going to do a pull, which should rebase, because that's how I have my stuff configured now. So if we look at this, it's got all of those Dependabot things that we merged are being rebased, and this code is being put on top of that. I'll do one last sanity check, run the test again. Although I should do a pip install probably to get the actual updates that we have and care about. And then run the test one more time. Okay, no shockers. That's all good. So there's nothing to commit. It's already committed. Push it up. And I think that knocks out this one. Okay, cool. That leaves us with a lot of options for next time. Next time, I think we'll get to, I would like to do this one from John about the circular endpoint stuff that he reported. I think that'd be good to make sure everything is working properly. I think we could also do the customization of the Stripe checkout page, at least a little bit. That would be good. Add a template for the email verification page. What does this mean? I think this is what we did tonight. I think that's where I got that message that we wanted to tell people that until you verify, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get email prompts. That was what we added for this one for. So I think this one's actually done. I don't know what else that could be, and since this is my brain that needs to know what this stands for, I'm good calling that one done. And then, well, we can come back. I might do this one this week. So that one might not be on stream, but that's not code. That's just a verification. That's boring. So y'all don't care about that probably. We should do this graceful trial handling. That would be good. Because right now there's a problem, and it's a problem that John experienced. Sorry, John, where because of the way we do signups right now, if you trial and you're 1 day, 2 days into your trial, and you sign up with Stripe and you say, I'm going to be active here and I want to start using this service regularly. The problem is that we're not handling the rest of your trial. So if you've got 13 days left in your trial, it doesn't matter. You get billed, I think it's set to bill immediately. and then you get charged and you start being active. That's not the behavior that ideally I want for my customers. I would like to honor the full 14 days of the trial and then have their stuff happen, and we're not doing that. So I think that gives us a set that we can start from next week. I should be around next week. Thank you all for joining in. If you could do me a huge favor and like, subscribe, share, all that nonsense. What do they say? Smash the like button. That's doesn't feel like me, but I'll say it anyway because here we are on YouTube. And I'll check with you on next time. Hopefully you learned something this evening. Hopefully you're seeing like we're in the stage where there's lots of low-hanging fruit to make this service better. And I'm going to keep messaging and having people try this out. I think we're in a pretty good position where we can start getting some real substantial feedback from members. And I might be mentioning this on X and other places in order to get people's attention that, hey, this is available. I'll probably wait a couple days until some of those trials begin to expire so that there's actually some sign-up slots. But scarcity is a good thing too. So anyway, appreciate y'all joining in, and I'll see you next time. Take care.